Hoi doorzetters. Today I wanted to talk about the person that is on the other side of this British £50 note. Before I reveal who it is, I just want to give a quote by this person that he gave in about 1950, 75 years ago. It seems probable that once the machine thinking method had started, it would not take long to outstrip our feeble powers. They would be able to converse with each other to sharpen their wits. At some stage, therefore, we should have to expect the machines to take control. I find this quote, particularly for something that was said in 1950, incredibly profound, because we are living at the precipice of an artificial intelligence revolution. And we who are living today at this time are very likely to see artificial intelligence surpass our intelligence for the first time in human history. The person that gave this quote was Alan Turing, who is best known as the code breaker at Bletchley Park during World War II, who helped to crack the Enigma code by the Germans. And cracking this code led to the war ending earlier and saving millions of lives. Alan Turing is one of my greatest heroes, and I want to talk to you about him today. Firstly, I wanted to discuss the quote. Basically, what he was explaining was that inevitably, once you create an intelligence that is beyond your own intelligence, it is only logical that it would take over. Just like, for example, if we were to develop self-driving cars, it would become a moral imperative that all cars on the road are self-driving, because if not, people will be losing their lives due to human error, and it becomes a moral responsibility, provided that they can drive without causing crashes or an incredibly low level of crashes. We have very few examples in history of less intelligent things being in charge of smarter things. There are a few examples, for example, a baby when it cries, getting its parents to respond, and things like pets and things. But in the vast majority of cases, when there is an enormous intelligence differential, the more intelligent being is the one that is making more decisions. The other thing was, he talks about how the AI systems could talk to each other and exchange ideas, and that's one of the key features of AI, is that if an AI system on one side of the world learns a new skill by making mistakes, it can then send those connections to another AI, and then the hive mind learns from it. And this is something that can't happen in human intelligence. If I study Latin for 10 years, I can't transfer that to someone else, but an AI could just send it across. So that's incredible. It does sound quite eerie and a bit dystopian. However, I want to reframe that and think, do you think that we as humans are the optimal people to run our society, when we often are narrow-minded, we think about things from our own perspective and can't always empathize with other people? How many problems in society are caused by misunderstandings and lack of empathy? And in theory, an AI system that has ultimate understanding of different perspectives could act as an incredible mediator between different nations and countries, and it could be an excellent force in world politics if we do it correctly. These are just potential ideas that I'm throwing around. But do you feel that humans are optimal at running the world when we are at risk of being affected by bias, greed, vested interests, and our human fallibility. Just something to think about. So that incredible quote is what I wanted to start with. And also on the quote, on the banknote itself, it actually says, "This is only a foretaste of what is to come, and only the shadow of what is going to be." How profound is that? Read that there. The next thing I want to talk about is how Alan Turing was one of the founding fathers of the field of artificial intelligence. And in 1950, he developed a concept called the Turing test, which basically stated that if a human is conversing with an artificial intelligence and the human is not able to tell whether they are conversing with a human or an AI, for example, this could be on a chat system where you don't physically see the other person or other being or other intelligence, then if the human couldn't tell a difference, then we would have to make the assumption that that system is intelligent. And this has been an incredible benchmark that has been in the history of AI. It's been something that has been discussed for many years, and many say that we have now passed the Turing test, but we've also realized that intelligence goes much more deep than just simulating human behavior. But it was an incredible thought experiment that has inspired many researchers in artificial intelligence. I recommend the film The Imitation Game, which I feel is an excellent film, which is based on Alan Turing with Benedict Cumberbatch starring as Turing. It is not historically accurate, but it is an excellent film and I recommend it. A couple of other important things I wanted to talk about Turing were, many think that he was neurodivergent, and it is impossible and not right to diagnose someone retrospectively, but without a doubt, his mind worked in a unique way and he had a unique perspective. And personally, I feel that he is a great figure in the neurodiversity phenomenon of understanding that we are all different, and we might be very good at, some people might be very good at some things and not good at other things, but accepting that diversity and that unique perspective, I think, is invaluable. And some of these minds that can think of things in a different way sometimes have to go against the grain and not be understood initially. Sometimes these people can make great changes, and that's something I want to talk about regarding Turing and one reason why I respect him. Also, he was gay at a time where it was very, very difficult to live as a gay person in Britain at that time because of the law and very bad discrimination and misunderstanding. And I feel he would have loved to live in this time where we have made so much progress, and I feel that the way he was treated by the people of his time because of this is tragic, and I feel that was another enormous source of adversity he faced. And another thing I wanted to mention was he was an unsung hero. He was not able to talk about the work he had done at Bletchley Park because it was top secret. And this would have been incredibly difficult living for so many years after having made such an incredible contribution to the world and the country, and then never being appreciated for that. And this goes for a lot of other people at Bletchley Park who worked at many different levels in many different departments, whether it be the cooking or the cleaning, or the people that were the code breakers, mathematicians, all sorts of different people at different levels who made that park function in the war effort to crack the code. All these people, they made an incredible contribution, but they had to keep quiet for the rest of their lives, and some of them were never able to tell their parents about what they had achieved, and this is very tragic. Some of them would have applied for jobs after the war and they would have said, like, we've looked at your CV, you've not really, what have you done during the war? And they wouldn't be able to explain what they had done, and they might have been perceived as cowards or not wanting to contribute and fight for the nation, and I find that very tragic. So he faced several forms of adversity during his life, and now we commemorate his work on the £50 note, which isn't enough, obviously, to thank him for what he did, but I wanted to talk about him. The other thing I wanted to say was I wish that we had his mind with us today at this point in human history as we move towards AGI and artificial superintelligence, because his wisdom at this time would be just what we need. However, there are other amazing minds who I would like to discuss on this channel who are here with us today, and I'm grateful for their inputs. We also, as humans, we all play a role in training these AI systems, and it is an opportunity for all of us to help shape the future. But let me know if you've heard of Alan Turing before, and if you've seen The Imitation Game. Thank you for watching up until the end of this video, and blijf doorzetten, doorzetters.